Hey, hi, this is Sandeep, and in this tutorial I'm gonna explain you about some useful methods which will be coming in use of the user when they try to do some default setting of the values while the creation of the entity or removal of the entity or something like these or insertion of the entity. Okay, so I have here department EO and VO created. So let's say we want a business scenario in which we need to supply the default values for some attribute. So you already knew that we had declarative kind of approach in which we declared that this is going to be the default value and that was displayed like that. So you can do the same thing programmatically also. Go to the department EO. Here you have Java classes. Edit this, say I want this as accesses included, and here is the create method. So if you tick this, a create method is going to be created. If you go inside this and search for create, here's our create method here. So what it is going to do here, whatever the value setting for the other attributes you want to do, you can do it. Whatever value you set over here, let's say I am gonna set department name, okay, as default department name. Okay, so I have set this value. So what will happen is that when an entity object is created out of this department, then this value is going to be set as the default value of the department name attribute, and the same it is going to show on the UI. So when you click, as you click, let's just save it and run it. So what will happen is that when the UI comes over to you, it creates, and when you say that, when you click on that plus button, it says to the ADF that go ahead and create an entity object. So when you say like that, it will create, and on the same time this method will be called and this value would be set, and when this value would be set, after that this will be displayed here. Okay, so as you click here plus, see, entity has been created, this method has been called, this value has been set, and then this comes over here. Now you can enter rest of the fields, or if you want, you could have chosen to not to display this department name itself. So in that case, this value would have been set at the background from here, and you wouldn't have been seeing this. Other value you can supply here, like I want to say 420 and I want to say manager ID 100 and 1700. You can just validate it. Okay, so it seems to be fine. Just save it. So go to the database and refresh it. You see over here 420 has come over here. Okay, so this record has been inserted successfully by this value. So one twist is here. I'll just delete this row from here from the database. So now, and I'll rerun this. One thing to remember here, what is that, is that when you set a value like this in the create method, it's going to set the value and then it is going to present to you in the form of UI. If you do not touch, the same is going to be persisted in the DB. But if you try to touch over here, okay, for example, if you say plus, and if you try to modify something, let's say you do like this default department, and then you enter same things. Okay, now validate, it's fine, save it. So now let's see what goes into the DB. Here is 420 default department, the thing which we entered. So if you try to modify something over here, the same thing is going to be persisted. So the thing to remember from here is that whenever you try to, the setters and the getters method, when do they get called? Actually, there are some setter and getter. For example, for this department name, there would be a setter, there would be a getter. So whatever value is displayed over here in the UI, when you click save, the same is going to be set, okay, blindly, whatever you write here, though even if some default value is coming already here, okay, and after that you modify something and then click on save, the set department name method is going to be called, which is here, set department name here. Okay, this method is going to be called, and whatever is appearing over here is going to be passed here so that its value is set. Okay, so And what does getter method does? Getter method will blindly get the value from the DB and will display it over here. That's the function of the getters and setters. So set method is directly going to take the value from here and then going to persist it. And get method will directly get the value from the DB and it will display it over here. If you go to its get department method, here is our get department method. I'm sorry, I'm searching for get department. So here it will directly get the value from the DB, and if you concatenate something over here, right, then what will happen? It is going to be concatenated and presented over here. Okay, like if I want to show you department name plus concat string. Okay, so if you do like this, then the value over the UI will be a concatenated value altogether. So go to the department. So as you saw over here, concat string is appearing on all department. So here you probably you would have understood what the setters and the getters method will do, what the normal setters and getters method will do. And apart from that, I have already told you about this create thing, that how this is going to set. I mean, if you would try to do something over here, it's gonna create first with this statement, and then it's gonna set the name, and then it's gonna display it to the UI. Okay, so let's go to the department. I'm sorry, let's go to the get department here. I'm just going to undo my change here, and okay, so that we have created one record and it's present over here 420. Okay, if you refresh, you will find it's present over here. So now if you want to control something, if you want to have a control over something about the removal, for example, if you don't want some records of the entity to be removed, then you gonna override a method that is called as remove method. So what you will do, you can just override it from here. You can say override methods, and here you can select department UI MPL and say you want to override this remove method. Okay, you select over here and say yes. So this will come. So you could have already, actually, if you want, you can go from here, click edit, and then say remove method from here. So if you tick on here, then also it's gonna appear over here, but I chose another way. So all the same, now whatever operation, if you want to check, for example, I'll just put a logic over here. So this is the logic that I have put. I'll just import this one. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm getting the department ID and then I'm comparing it to 420. If it is not 420, okay, then you just throw an exception. Else, if it is equal to 420, then you can remove it. So what this logic is saying, that if the department ID is equal to 420, then remove it. Otherwise, do not remove any of the other department IDs. Okay, so that's what it says. And just now we added this just now we have added this record with the department ID of 420. So we have created a logic that we can iterate over the records and we can only delete this record. Even if you try to delete some other record, it will show us some message that it cannot delete, that is delete not allowed. Okay, so let's run and check this. So here is our output, department view. So if you try to delete this one, delete not allowed. If you try to delete some other, delete not allowed. But if you go to the 420 record and if you try to delete this, oh, it got deleted. Yeah, that was expected behavior. So here you were seeing 420. If you try to refresh it, 420 is gone. Now 420 is coming actually here because we have deleted from here, but we have not committed the changes. So let's commit the change from here and now go to the DB and refresh it. You won't find 420 anymore. Okay, so with the remove method we can do this kind of a thing. We can control whatever records we want to delete and whatever we want to prevent. Okay, so another very useful method that comes into use is prepare for DML. And for that method, what we can do, we can override that method. We can go over here, say prepare for DML, select this, click OK. Okay, so here's our prepare for DML method. So what will happen here, this I can tell you, this I is a constant and can tell you whether the operation going to be performed is an insert, delete or update, all DML operations. So if you want to set some value in case of insertions, if you want to set some other attribute to some value while insertion is going to happen, then you can do that. If you want the same thing to happen in case of update, then you can do that. And if you want to do something in case of delete, then also it is possible to do that. So all you need to do is to check what I has. It will tell you whether it's an insert or delete or update. Okay, so I'll just give you an example here for the logic that I've created. So I have created this simple example. I am saying super, I'm just calling the super method, and then I'm checking whether if it is an insert. If it is an insert, then I will contain this constant value DML insert. If it is a update, then it will contain this DML update. If it's a delete, then it will contain DML underscore, and then it will be delete over here. Okay, so in case of insert, I want to set the name as inserted. Okay, so whatever you insert, regardless of whatever you enter in the UI at the attribute of department name, this is going to set the value. This is going to set its value to insert it. If it's an update, then it is going to set update. So let's see how it works. Okay, so I'll save it, I'll run it. So the thing to remember here is that while insertion, oh, these many errors are coming. So illegal start of expression. Okay. Oh, actually this brace I think I need to remove, and everything is going to be fine. Yeah, so now let's run it. There was just a mistake of our braces over here. So now let's say I want to insert. I'll say insert. So actually this is coming because we have already created, create method we override, right? And that's what actually is trying to bring it over here. So we will just remove that method first in order to remove confusion. Or create method lies here, so I don't want create method now. I'll just remove it, save it, rerun it. So I'll just say plus, and then I'll say 420, and whatever you enter, doesn't matter, whatever. Okay, here 100 and here 1700. Just click validate. Validate's fine. So let's pay attention to the method prepare. Okay, so I'm inserting. So while insertion, it will set its department name value to insert it regardless of whatever you enter over here. If you click save, see inserted comes over here, and even if you go to the database, if you refresh it and see 420 has been inserted with this inserted as the department name. Okay, so you can scroll through now, and let's say I want to update again this. Okay, so in the case of update, as you see over here, this method will be triggered obviously for any DML operations, and it will come over in this if that it's an update, and it will set the department name as updated regardless of whatever you mention over here, whatever. Okay, so just click validate and click update. So it has, see, updated has come over here, and even if you go to the DB, you check by refreshing, updated has come over here. So that explains that how do we control, or how can we use these useful methods like prepare for DML to set any other attribute in case of any DML operation. And we can check whether it's an insert or update or delete, and create method is used to set the attribute at the instance when entity is being created. and to supply basically the default values programmatically, and the remove statement is used to control, the remove method is used to control whatever rows we want to remove, or whatever rows we want to prevent to be removed. Okay, so I'll see you in the next tutorial.